If everyone could kindly grab their seats and we can start the program. Save me that seat. There are some seats up the front if someone is looking for a seat, by the way. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for coming to honour Shin's life. This is a terrific response, and I'm so pleased to see all of you here today, so thank you for attending. We are honoured today as well. A couple of members of Shin's family are also here, so thank you very much for attending the memorial service. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the work of several people who helped put today together. I know they probably do not want me to acknowledge them, but I'm chair of biology and I'm going to do it anyway. And one of those people is Anna Bodka, and the other person that I'd like to thank formally is Geraldine Misquith. Those two were instrumental in putting the majority of what you see together, so thank you very much, and I thank you very much for your service. I would also like to thank all of those who agreed to speak today. We have a program. There is one addition to the program which I'm going to talk about in a moment, but thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Another person I would like to thank is, and I don't know, my Chinese may be a little bit rusty, but Shui Wang. She's going to be playing the zither for us. The zither is an instrument that Shin was fond of playing, and so we have a musical interlude as part of the program today as well. So thank you very much for taking time out of your day. And I want to begin by telling you a little bit about Shin's life, and then finish by adding my own personal story as well. So Shin was born in Nanchang, China, into a family of scholars with 3 siblings. She was a devoted daughter, wife, and mother of 2 children, Dana and Matthew. Shin received her Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences in 1988 from Shangshui Medical College, and her Master of Science in Pharmaceutical Chemistry in 1991 from Kunming Medical College. She was a visiting scholar at the University of California, Los Angeles, before relocating with her family to the Philadelphia area. Shin was an accomplished microbiologist, having completed her PhD in cellular and molecular biology in 2004, and a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine. We were fortunate enough to meet Shin for the first time in 2006 when she joined our faculty as an assistant professor. She was promoted to the rank of associate professor in 2011 and then full professor in 2016. She did a lot of service with the department. Predominantly, she served as the department graduate coordinator for many years. And one of the things she also did was encourage students to conduct research in her lab. And some of those students are here today to say a few words. They're on your program, so thank you for your attendance. And she was a great scholar and a very caring educator. Shin gave back to the community in many ways, most notably as the dean at Hua Chai Chinese School at Great Valley. She was active in many organizations, including the Melody Chorus and the Philadelphia Chinese Tennis Association. In recent years, she enjoyed choir, dance, playing the zither, and painting, and of course, tennis. We will miss her compassion, her generosity, friendship, but most of all, we'll miss her smile. As I was sitting down thinking about what I personally would like to say, one theme resonated with me, and that was the passion that she had for her students. Rarely have I seen this type of passion before. When she interviewed for the position, I was fortunate enough to turn up to both her research and teaching demonstrations, and that's when I first saw it and where I witnessed it firsthand. And once all the candidates that we want to interview are over, once the interview process is over, we get together as a faculty and have a meeting and decide on who we want. And at that discussion, I actually remember saying that she had a big heart and a passion for teaching. And I said, by the way, I think she's really, really smart. And I said that it would be crazy for us not to hire her. And as we went around the room, everyone had the same sentiment. So it was a unanimous decision. She was a very well-rounded person. And as I think of the best way to honour her, I think if we could each take one aspect of what we know of Shin and apply that to our day-to-day lives and try and live that aspect, to me, that's the greatest way to honour Shin. So that's what I've decided to do moving forward. So that's all I would like to say personally to the group. There is a slight change in the program, and that is that before the faculty speak on your program, members of the Philadelphia Chinese Tennis Association, represented by Yu Ru, Rachel Young, and Philip, whom I met earlier, would like to say a few words. So if you would like to come up now, that would be terrific, and we can progress from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us here today. What I want to share with you is something that outsides me, which I selfishly consider as the best part of Shin. I met Shin 3 years ago when I tagged along with a mutual friend to a restaurant for a lunch. After few exchange about polite greeting, and she said to me, "If you don't mind, I pointed out this to you. The shirt you wear has a hole in the back, and I'm sure you're not aware of it." And that just less than 2 minutes into knowing that person. And on top of that, this is my favorite shirt I wear to work every day almost. And at that moment, just right at that moment, I realized that she is the one I want to be friends with for the rest of my life. So from that day onward, I almost saw her every weekend and talked to her on a regular basis. She was like a sister that I never had growing up, and the one I can call at any time and talk to about almost anything, and sometimes nothing at all, just say hi and bye. As you are all aware, she likes the paintings, particularly loved the Impressionist, which the style and the artwork. Her brain was like a human hard drive, I call it. She organized information such as paintings, painters, location, style, event, everything, in a way that she can give you an answer for any question you have within seconds. And I even say to her, I said, "Shin, if you continue abuse your brain like this, you're gonna end up with Alzheimer's in 90s. And she laughed at me. At one point, when 3 of us went to the Bond Foundation to see her favorite picture, and this is actually the picture that we took that day with Rachel, which I'm going to say something about her later. So I did ask her why you are so into Impressionist. And he explained that Impressionist art is a means of self-expression. It's what happened around the artist and how he reacts to it. Now rethink what he said that day and realized that this actually applied very well being reflect of she. She's almost like a precious impressionist art to all of us. Very authentic, but original. Playful, but disciplined. And also candid and modest, and passionate and very, very objective. I still remember the last time Rachel and myself went to see her. I think it was the May the 27th. She did not mention that much about her illness. It's just like a normal get-together for three of us. We talk, we laugh, we ate. And then, so we kind of say, hey, worried. But instead, she sought to comfort us, telling us not to worry about her. So I told her that I will be away for several weeks, and I will come back to see her once I get back. I still remember the way she looked at me in that moment, with that infectious smile, as you say, that infectious smile, which is a trademark of her. And I constantly tell her that she should patent it, but she never had a chance to do that. So she hugged me and said, safe trip. By the time you get back, I will be fully recovered. And let's go out and celebrate. Then she hugged Rachel and said, you look beautiful today, which I always a little bit jealous when she did that. Because as you know, there's invisible competition between me and Rachel. I guess it's just longing for her time or for her attention. Unfortunately, that is the last time we saw her awake. By the time I come back on July the 7th, she has been in the intensive care for 3 weeks. So sadly, we lost her. Nevertheless, we continue to feel her present whenever we go. At the tennis court, she plays fearlessly. He does not want to lose any point. At our girls' night out, he detailed flawlessly every little thing to make us happy. On the dance floor, she moves like the wind. On our mini trip, she demands to be the designated driver so we, a lot older than her, can catch some rest. At art class, she laser focused, totally submerged with her brush and her paintings. On stage, he plays like an angel, her favorite music on the instrument that you see over here. At the chorus concert, she fixed others before doing her own. And this is her work that make me and Rachel look so good on this picture. And Professor Tan actually took that picture for us, and thank you for that. And also, a little more things. She knows a little bit Kung Fu. I don't know how much you know that. No? Good for you. Because that's her dark side. We never dare to explore. I can go on and on and on. She was the most generous, caring, and talented person I ever met. If there's anything that I learned from her passing, that is the time is precious. We never know when is the last time we see someone. I have learned to make time to the people that I cared. Even 5 minutes, a text, a phone call. I learned how to make time now. Hug your loved one and make as much memory as you can. Takes a lot of pictures. And send letters, send cards. together, which fortunately myself and Rachel has several mini trips with her in the past, in 3 years actually. So I would like to end this with some lyrics from one of the songs, Eric Clapton, Tears in Heaven. And as a memorial to Shin, would you know my name? Would you hold my hand? Would you help me stand when I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on, because I know there will be no more tears in heaven. Thank you.
I'm not going to take too long, and I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know about Shin, but I'll just tell you that I was on the committee that hired Shin in our department, so I knew a little bit about her before everybody else knew because of the interview. And during the interview we were talking, we found out that we had a common ground. She went to UCLA as a visiting scholar, and I said, oh, I graduated from UCLA. So that became our common bond. She got hired, a great microbiologist, great pathogenic micro. And we served on the committees together. She wouldn't say much. And then one day she comes in my office and says, you being a minority faculty member in this department and me being a minority, how did you manage to survive here? I said, well, don't worry about it. Just do your job, just do your work. And the students will either admire it, appreciate it, or not. He said, but students complain that they can't understand me. I said, well, I guess that's their problem. Tell them that this is the university now and you're going to encounter professors from all races and they speak all kinds of ways. You just have to deal with them. That's what the colleges are about. And one student came to complain, I can't understand her. I said, well, just deal with it because you don't understand her because you're listening to her with your accent, just like people listen to me with their accent. So we became very good friends, colleagues. We trained students together and had a lot of discussion. And I love languages, so Shin Fan became my teacher of Chinese. So the few things I know, like She, She, Cha, Chen, and things like I learned from her. And she was really a great friend, a great confidant. And I'm sorry that she's gone, but I miss her dearly. I didn't get to visit her in the hospital. I was in Africa at the time. But I'm a Christian and I don't believe the dead are gone. I think she's here because once in a while when there's a subject that brings her name up, I talk to her just like she's here. So she was a great teacher, great friend, and Shin, I'll miss you dearly. Rest in peace, but come visit once in a while.
Good afternoon, I'm Linda Zhu from Management Department at the College of Business and Public Management. First, on behalf of all the Chinese faculty here, we would like to thank our colleague at the Biology Department for organizing this memorial service. We all greatly appreciate your time and effort. Every Chinese faculty here and also other faculty who couldn't make it today, we all get things help in one way or the other. We came to Westchester with similar backgrounds and sharing same challenge. Xin was a good listener. She always talked in a positive way and encouraged everyone around her. Xin was a hardworking, intelligent, caring, and thoughtful friend. We will miss her dearly every single day. Xin was a role model for all of us about how to balance life and work. Xin had so many hobbies, like dance, chorus, gymnastics, painting, tennis, and Chinese wushu and guzheng. When she saw the need for someone to organize the class or event, she always volunteered and did for everyone. She has been the culture dean for Huaxia Great Valley Chinese School for many years. Xin was outgoing and liked to travel. In 2017 summer, she took 3 of her classmates from China to travel to Alaska about 10 days. After the trip, Xin was so excited to show me all the pictures and tell me the great time they had together. And actually, Xin was the only driver for the whole trip. She drove the RV for the whole trip and also worked very hard to maintain the tanks and also some other work. You know, that's really quite a lot of drive and also a lot of work. So after the trip, her hands were out for a long time because the work she did during the trip. Later, when I chatted with her husband, I found out actually Xin did not like to drive at all. Yeah. So this shows what type of person Xin is. When she saw people in need, she helped it out, even if it not was her favorite thing to do. Just like Qiu in the chemistry department, she said, what she showed to the world was the warmest smell and the kindest word. Just like a candle, she sat in the dark, burning herself to light up the room. It is not possible for us to put into the word how important the friendship and how much Xin means to us. She positively influenced our everyday life. Her hard work and willingness to help others inspired us every day. Xin, thank you for being such a great colleague and a friend. We will miss you forever. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, my name is Jessica Sullivan-Brown. I'm an assistant professor of biology. It's still hard for me to believe the reality of Xin's passing. Her smile, her friendship, her cheer, her laughter, and her presence are truly missed. The last time I saw Xin, my mom and I visited her with flowers and apple bread from the biology department. My mom wanted to come because she played tennis, and she always loved Xin's energy and kindness, especially on the court. My mom and I knew that Xin was sick, so we figured it would be a quick conversation and we would leave within a few minutes. Xin answered the door with a huge smile and gave us hugs and insisted that we sit at her table. Xin was so incredibly welcoming and generous and open. And instead of a quick visit, we talked about all sorts of topics, from Shen's recent diagnosis, to tennis, to teaching, to Shen's love of art, to Shen's love of music, to Shen's love of dance, and to Shen's love of her family. Shen was sick, but so full of life. When we left Shen's house that day, my mom and I both cried. We had no idea then how sick Shen would become, but it was heartbreaking to know the struggles that she was surely going to face. I'm really grateful for the time that I did have getting to know Shen. She was generous and like a mentor. I remember one time I asked her if she had a specific type of test tube for my experiments, and she showed me her personal supply in the back of her lab that she got through her own grant money. It made it really clear to me that I should never let the lack of this supply or other supplies prevent me from doing my own research, that I was welcome to use hers anytime. Shen was funny, so funny that sometimes during our phone interviews, Josh and One might remember this, we would start to get into giggling fits, and we needed to control ourselves so that we would start to act more professional. I remember Shen really liked to drink her Wawa coffee with hot water. Still trying to understand that. I would talk to her about it. Shen loved the arts. I'll never forget one day she told me how she loves to spend time alone in an art museum so that she could read about each art piece without any distractions. And I've always thought this was a really beautiful image, to be alone with art from which you gained inspiration from. I never played tennis with Shen. I'm not that good, but my mom did. And when I asked my mom about playing tennis with Shen, she said she was a good competitor and had tremendous focus. And after the game, she said they would always have lots of fun, and Shen would always say, "Didn't we just have a great time playing?" It wasn't all about winning, although I know she really liked to win, but it was about doing the best you could, and my mom remarked that she was always so supportive of her partner and of her team. So I hope what we can all take from Shen is her love of life and the world around her. She was not only a great teacher and educator, but she was a phenomenal scientist. She was adventurous and she loved to travel. She did live her life to the fullest, which makes her passing especially hard. I hope we will never forget how short life is, and that if we can live like Liv did with a passion and love, we will not only honor her memory, but we will be more fulfilled in ours. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Karen Schwartz. I'm in the Earth and Space Science Department. The first time I interacted with Shen, I asked her for a favor. I was putting together an event to encourage girls to pursue careers in STEM, and I was looking for female faculty members to help lead the girls in hands-on activities in science. I didn't know anyone in biology, so I pulled up the department webpage and started scrolling through the list of faculty members. I found Shen there. She was young and relatively new to Westchester, having come in only a year after me. So I figured this meant that she probably wasn't burnt out and jaded yet, and she might be looking for opportunities in service to add to her resume for her tenure file. Both of these things suggested that she might be more likely to agree to spending a Saturday at work with a bunch of preteen and teenage girls. When she said yes, that she would help out, I was just happy to have a biologist on board. I had no idea how lucky I was at the time. Shen quickly came up with an experiment for the girls to do. They were going to extract DNA from strawberries. I didn't know how it worked, but it sure sounded cool. I wanted to give it a try myself. When I visited the lab during the actual day, she was there working with the girls. They had their gloves on. They were using pipettes and all kinds of other scientific equipment. And she had them hooked. They were loving it. I never get to use any kind of cool stuff like that. I'm an astronomer, and most I can say is, hey, here's my laptop. That's about it. So this was real science stuff. She knew how to engage those girls, and she was great with the girls. She was encouraging, she was approachable, she was enthusiastic, and always smiling the whole time. Her passion for science was obvious and contagious. It was clear that she didn't agree to help me because she wanted a bullet point on her CV. I had found someone who really believed in the cause, who wanted to show young girls that they had a place in STEM. The event eventually became an annual thing. It's Super Science Saturday, and every year I sent out a call to the faculty asking if they would be willing to do it again. And every year, Shin was one of the first to respond, saying, "I'm in." Usually we had a Q&A with the scientists, the faculty, at the end of the day. It's a long day. The scientists, the faculty members run through their experiments with at least 3 different sets of kids, so it's a long day. And at the end, Shin was always there to tell her story with a smile on her face still. She would talk about how she got interested in science, why she chose biology. She offered encouragement, advice, and assurances that these girls too could be a scientist just like her one day. Over the years, Shin helped expose hundreds of girls to the wonders of science. With her passing, Westchester University and her colleagues like myself have lost a valued and treasured member of our community and the campus. I'm especially saddened by the fact that we have lost an amazing mentor and role model for young girls interested in science. But I am very grateful to have known her, and I'm so very grateful that for all that she gave to the Super Science Saturday program, I know she inspired many, many young women through her example and her enthusiasm, and most of all, her smile. Thank you.
And now, Shui, if you would like to come up and play first, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
name is Mia Eason, and I'm a former student of Dr. Fan's. 12 years ago, I met Dr. Fan during my second semester at Westchester. It was her first semester teaching. After sitting through a couple of weeks of microbiology lectures and labs, my initial impression of her was that she was extremely intelligent and passionate about the subject matter. I think I even felt a little bit intimidated by the vast amount of knowledge she had regarding microbes. As time went on, I eventually took every class she taught. I soon discovered that not only were my initial impressions correct, but that she was also kind, genuine, energetic, non-judgmental, and humble. Whenever I had a question or needed help with something, Dr. Fan would kindly explain the answer as often as I needed to hear it in order to understand. Never once did she cause me to feel stupid or embarrassed for asking a question. She truly wanted her students to do well and made every effort to afford us the best opportunity to succeed. After I graduated with my bachelor's, I decided to enroll in the master's program at Westchester with Dr. Fan as my advisor. Over the months I spent working and conversing with her, she would often say to me, "Mia, finish here and move on. Have a good life. Have a happy life. That's what it's all about." There was nothing profound in those statements, yet those remarks have stuck with me all these years. When I encounter stressful situations in life, I occasionally think of those words: finish and move on. Be happy. The impact of those simple words has served to brighten quite a few days since they were first uttered, because I know that once the situation has passed, a feeling of relief will soon follow. Dr. Fan's encouragement, kind words, and tidbits of wisdom were able to push a procrastinator like me to finish and move on from Westchester. Now, even though receiving a master's is a great accomplishment which wouldn't have been possible without her influence, the most significant impact she had on my life came by the way of an introduction to my current boss. When I was a senior, Dr. Fan asked me to stay after class one day to talk. She had a friend who worked at a biotech company that was looking for an intern. Since I was the student she was most familiar with, she asked if I'd be interested. Of course I said yes, I needed a job. Unbeknownst to either of us at the time, I'd end up staying on at that company for many years. As I moved up in the ranks and began participating in the hiring process, whenever we needed additional employees, I'd email Dr. Fan asking her if she had any students she could recommend. We hired quite a few people based off of her recommendations. Some are still at the company and others have moved on to new opportunities. I, as well as the students that were employed immediately upon graduation, are forever thankful to Dr. Fan's contribution in going out of her way to help us have a good life. We meet many people throughout the course of our lives. Some slip away from memory while others make a lasting impression. Dr. Fan was the latter, and I feel blessed to have known her. After listening to a few of the previous speakers, I only wish I could have gotten to know her as well as some of the people out here do. I greatly miss her and wish I just would have had more time to gotten to know her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Chase Weichel, and Dr. Fan was my research mentor for the last 2.5 years. And I just wanted to take the time and share with you one of the finest memories that I have of her. It was one afternoon. I had stayed behind after a lab to do some work on a project that her and I had been doing. And I was explaining to her that even though I tried it a million times, I still hadn't been able to get the PCR to work. And she said she'd stay with me and try to help me figure it out, even though I knew she had a ton of other work to do. We went over all the calculations, and she gave me a ton of great advice along the way. As the gel ran, we sat and talked about anything and everything from personal interests and hobbies to family. And at one point, I even remember us arguing over our favorite flavors of bubble tea. That's besides the point. But when I reflected on these moments between us, I had realized I'd been able to see her as more than a professional mentor or a role model, but a bit of the person behind the educator. What she enjoys in life and glimpses into her life as a mother or as a friend. And I felt that we had connected a step beyond just mentor and protege. I'll always remember this day, because it showed me not only how remarkably intelligent Dr. Fan was as a scientist, or how dedicated she was to helping her students, but also how kind-hearted she was as a person. I'm grateful for the time I had spent learning with Dr. Fan. and I'm committed to honoring her memory by finishing the work we had started together, and by being the scientist and person she was teaching me to be. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Sitting here a few minutes ago listening to what Mia had prepared and how similar it was to what I wrote, I was sort of chuckling to myself, but I'm just going to go ahead with what I had prepared for today. My name is Jessica Bondi. I graduated from Westchester in 2014 with a degree in microbiology. I worked in Dr. Phan's lab as a student researcher for over 2 years. Her and I spent countless hours together, and we had a much deeper relationship than that of a teacher and student. She was an extraordinary mentor, became a close friend of mine, and was and always will be someone that I look up to and admire. I first met Dr. Phan when I took her microbiology class in my sophomore year. My first impression of her was that this short, fiery woman was slightly intimidating, but also brilliant. Throughout the semester, I quickly started to fall in love with microbiology, so much so that I changed my major to micro. And when it came time to think about extracurricular research opportunities, she was one of the first people that I contacted. After expressing interest in her projects, Dr. Phan threw me straight into the ring by immediately contacting her other student researchers and telling me to be back in her office a few days later to learn how to take care of the mice. At the time, taking care of mice wasn't what I had in mind when I had thought of doing research, but I was like, experience is experience. However, taking care of those mice would follow me for the rest of my years at Westchester. I'll never forget the beautiful summer day that she called me to let me know that by spending my summer living in town, that it was now my responsibility to clean out the mouse cages all summer long. I'll never forget the smell of autoclaved, dirty mouse cages as long as I live. Dr. Phan ignited a spark in me that has fueled my passion for research since that first day in her office. She was kind and patient, yet also tough and direct when she needed to be. She taught me the basics of how to be a great researcher and taught me skills that were invaluable for my time at Westchester and for my first job right out of college. She pushed me to write abstracts, present posters, and apply for awards for my research. She also lovingly yelled at me a lot for our mice not breeding frequently enough, or at all. Dr. Phan always went out of her way to make sure that she was doing all that she could for me. She spent hours and hours with me in the lab, designing and critiquing our project. If there was a skill she thought I needed to learn, she hounded the appropriate professor until they showed me how to do it. Especially you, Dr. Casati, in the tissue sectioning process. Dr. Phan was my advisor, and not only did she help me pick the best classes for my major, but she sat with me and made sure that I would take classes that challenged me and that would look best for my medical school applications. She made a special effort to contact her peers and get me one of my first big girl job interviews. Even after graduation, she made me the first author on my very first publication, a publication that represents all of the time we spent together, everything I learned, how I grew as a student and scientist under her wing, and how great of a teacher she was. One of my favorite memories of her was on my graduation day. Right after I walked across the stage to receive my diploma, I walked down the aisle to return to my seat, and right there, in front of everyone, she stops me, pauses the whole process so that we can get a picture. It's actually back there on the board, but it's one that I still have and will always cherish. Dr. Phan was kind, sweet, patient, and thoughtful. She was a brilliant microbiologist and a passionate teacher. There will never be a time where I look back on my years here at Westchester and not think of her beautiful smile, her laugh, the countless hours we spent together in the lab, and of the memories that we made together. I feel so fortunate and honored to not only have known her, but to have been so close with her. She was a great mentor to me, and I hope she knows how much she changed my life. The biology department lost a phenomenal teacher and friend, and it saddens me that future students will not be able to know, learn, and grow from her knowledge and guidance. She will be forever missed.
think it's very telling that a lot of our stories are mirroring each other, and mine will do the same. So I'll end today. I think the word mentor is overused today, and its meaning has shape-shifted from the original etymology. Today, the ethos has completely changed, and there's a lot of emphasis on career mentoring, peer-to-peer mentoring, and what I consider pseudo-mentoring, or something that is for the sake of the mentor's advancement more than it is for the mentee themselves. Life coaches and online guides, career-specific preparatory clubs, they all offer impersonal permutations of the same route to success and achievement. But the word mentor is originally Greek and was derived from the name of a character in Homer's Odyssey. Mentor, the character, was a confidant. Mentor, the character, was someone who taught and gave sound advice to those less experienced. Mentor, the character, was an educator and a guide, a really trusted friend. Dr. Fan probably spent little time contemplating the definition of the word mentor, especially considering all of her other hobbies. But that's who she was to me, the archetype of a mentor. And she saw in me an uninformed, young, pugnacious, unimpressive teenager, a verb and intensity worth molding. Together, we wrote my first scientific publication, and then 2 more. She taught me that the pursuit of unadulterated knowledge is admirable and individualistic, a concept that today is lost to the pursuit of fame and wealth. She was intuitive enough to understand that I was impassioned about microbiology and embodied the concept that unbiased, engaging education can elicit impact. Dr. Fan was pragmatic and open-minded and showed me how to navigate scientific scrutiny graciously, and more importantly, instilled the concept in me that such scrutiny is truly the cornerstone of scientific advancement. It is because of her mentorship that I have my doctorate today and still work in infectious diseases, studying the same bacterial organisms that we once studied together. To say that she had a lasting impact on my life is truly to minimize her. Her impact is ineffable, and I will truly miss her. Thank you.
So in preparation for this day today, since I knew I was going to be the closing act here, and as I had hoped there were so many great stories that were shared about Chin today, I tried to think of one word that I could come up with that would, at least for me, express what she was in just a single word. And the word that I came up with was present, because Shin to me was present in everything that she did. She was incredibly present, obviously, as a friend, as we heard. But she was incredibly present as a colleague to all of us in biology. She was very present as a mentor, as an advisor, as a teacher, and of course as a member of a very loving family. So to me, her presence makes it so very, very difficult to think of her as absent all of a sudden. Now, for me personally, Shin was present a couple of years ago in not just a regular situation, but in an emergency situation. And in that situation, she really, for me, not just she, but also Matthew, were the calm in the storm for me, not just figuratively, but literally. So that presence is something, and that being there for me is something that I will always carry with me, and that will always mean the world to me. Having said that, I always imagined that I knew what loss meant to a family, maybe to a close-knit group of people, friends, etc. But I thought at a university level, there's so many of us, it might not be as obvious to the community that makes and shapes a university. Well, the loss of Shin has certainly taught me that that is very different. So today, by you being here and sharing your memories, you make it possible for us as a university, as a community, to remember somebody who was an incredible colleague, an incredible mentor, and a wonderful friend. So we would like to thank you all for coming from far and wide to share your stories and to be together with us in celebrating Shin and celebrating her memory. For us as a family that makes this particular university, to have this time and to share these memories really means a lot. So thank you to all the speakers that were willing to be here and share this time. And thank you to all of you for coming and sharing your memories with the group. Thank you so much.
Okay, so that's the end of our formal program. If you would like to get together and finish off some food, have some drinks, mingle, that would be absolutely terrific, and thank you all again.
What? You still at that same company? Now I see you're head of human resources or something? What did they write?
Client services. I don't even know that.
That's what you do now? Are you still in touch with Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah? Where is he? He's in Lancaster?
Lancaster Laboratory.
But where did he take lesson?
Where?
Yeah. Hermano. You know Dr. Pagan? Oh, yeah. So Brian is, where is he working?
Did you know Brian Fraley?
He probably did, but he probably didn't know.
Taller than me, redhead.
Yeah. Red
Yeah, it's hard.
beard,
If I see him, I'll...
skinny. But which lab is he located in?
Oh, I don't know. Lancaster, maybe.
Well, Lancaster lab became Eurofin. Yeah, Eurofin is the old Lancaster lab. They bought that thing and they're placing people all over the place. So I lost the
Are we
track
being
with
filmed?
Brian.
I think we're on camera.
I lost track. Okay, good. I almost didn't. I had the night doctor appointment at 10:20, and I thought I would be finished by
Oh, but are you okay?
11:30 because it's.
Are you okay?
I think I'm okay. I didn't get out of there until 12:15. So now I'm running out here. So.
Take care of yourself.
Eh?
Take care of yourself.
It's not my problem. The eye decided to hurt. I didn't tell it to hurt.
You still, are you retired or are you still?
No.
You never
Yeah, when I saw me, I said, and then I said, yes, yeah, I think I lost track. I don't know where everybody is anymore. Hi, Jess Conley. Where are you? Are you still taking your BCom class? No, but you were taking graduate courses there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You done with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now where are you?
I live in, well, actually, I just moved to downtown.
But where do you work?
At Einstein.
Oh, Einstein. In North Philly, right?
Good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, how are you?
Burley.
Yeah.
Burley. You still remember? Burley.
Yeah,
I haven't called you lately, but I've been very busy.
Yeah?
I still admire those pearls. Yeah, they're great. Where's your friend? What's the other girl?
Julie?
Julie, she got married?
Yeah, she had a baby.
I did not, by the way, but I knew she got married. She's a chap.
Yeah, I think she's still there. She just had a baby a couple months ago.
Boy, girl?
A boy. Yeah. It's a little redhead.
Where
just like
in
her.
Dallas?
Um,